today, and I'm excited for today's presentation. And we are going to, I remember Lenny in the beginning, like when we were first getting in started in isogenics and just all of the good that we were seeing that was happening and in freeing people physically and financially. And we were turning heads, all across the country. I mean, we were getting the attention of the news. Remember Kim Olson being interviewed on ABC News and or KSL News right here in Salt Lake, and with her transformation that she's never had her whole life, and me coming from the background that I was and the background that you came from, the restaurant industry, and just working away. And I had my paper out and struggling financially. The window on my front of my house was broken. You saw that window that was all shattered, um, and just struggling. And we realized that we had a lot of value to offer to people in the way of their health. And we saw the opportunity that was for us financially. And at that time, it wasn't too much after the movie Sixth Sense, right? The little kid said, "I see dead people," or whatever, right? Like that was a pretty common phrase that everybody was familiar with. And Lenny, you were instilling the vision of freeing ourselves for our families financially. And you said, "I see millionaires," right? And that's before we were millionaires. And we just came back from celebration, and how many people had a check? 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 6 million, 9 million, 11 million, 13 million, 16 million, Jimmy Smith, 43 million, right? And just how important and how significant that has played a role in our lives. And money's not everything, but like Jim Rohn says, and I think Les Brown, it ranks right up there with oxygen. You just can't live without it. And I've been on both sides where I've not had enough money and where I've had plenty of money. And I like the side where you have plenty of money. And it makes a huge difference in our lives and relieving the stress and being able to live life to its fullest. So we're going to talk about some of that today. Well, we're going to talk a lot about that today, but we're going to jump into the products here and do a thorough but quick overview,
Michelle.
and then get into some vitamin M. And I've been saying that a lot, Lenny. Vitamin M, vitamin moolah, right? And there's a lot of people that are going to be displaced in their jobs here that already are happening, but we're going to talk more about that. But I want to welcome Lenny on as well. Rhonda, I haven't heard from Rhonda this morning. I know everybody's running in different directions right now. Um, but Lenny called me up yesterday, and he had my moment where I pulled over on the side of the freeway, right, Lenny? And
Yeah.
he's going to present with me here today, which I'm so excited about. And we're going to, the Wonder Twin powers activate. So Lenny, kind of just like bring people up to speed with, your epiphany and what's going on and the direction that we're heading.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Happy Saturday. I'm so happy to be here. I just celebrated my 22nd ISA anniversary this last week. It's always right before Valentine's Day. 22 years ago, I said yes after saying no, no, no. And, one of the things I just want to bring right now as we get started is that 22 years ago, I met Dave right about 21 years ago, like right in the beginning, or 20 years ago. And gosh,
Mhm.
all of us were so excited, and we would sometimes bash our head against the wall when people couldn't see the opportunity. At least I would. I'll speak for myself, and I would be going like, "Man, they'd be so good at this." But back 22 years ago, back 15 years ago, back 10 years ago, humans had a choice. They had a choice whether they wanted to continue in their work, truck driving, driving Uber, being whatever they were being, or do isogenics. And what my great epiphany was yesterday after studying Tony Robbins is that, and we're going to bring that to you little by little, but there's something coming that is going to disrupt a lot of things, and that is the great displacement, where overnight we're going to see how industries can be completely wiped away. And so what isogenics is doing now, what Dave and I have the vision of, is that, gosh, yes, everyone deserves to be healthier. Man, take a look at this for your freedom and for your purpose. because we grant people freedom and we give them a purpose along with it if they can see it. So it's up to all of us on this Zoom to catch this vision today and spread it. So Dave, that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm excited, because Isogenics was built for a time like this. This this is it. This is it, you guys. We're locking arms, and we're gonna be part of the solution of the great displacement. We're gonna find people. Not everybody will say yes, but a lot of people will, and those people deserve to be on your team and be plugging in to all of this goodness because it's already happening. The great displacement's already happening. So, Dave, with that, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I know we have the greatest products in the world, but I do want to quote Jimmy Smith as we get started. We could all toast our BV right now, and we could all have either clear protein or chocolate protein or a e-shot or all these things. But Jimmy Smith said it, and I'm going to say it again. What's the most important product in isogenics? And Jimmy tried to drill it into our brains forever, and it's simply I would say the shake, right? But it's not. It's not the shake. It's not the e-shot. It's 100 points. It's 100 points. And so now Isogenics is the world leader in 100 points. pick your magic. It's so much. And so we'll get into that, but it's all tied to the 100 points, which ignites the income, the ninth wonder of the world, the eighth wonder of the world. And we're going to get into all that. So, Dave, with that, man, I'm just going to follow you. And every time you want me to interject, I'm going to come on. And I'm super stoked and I'm grateful to be here.
I'm so excited for you to be here. And, you know, I just love this coming full circle with what we started with and the evolution that Isogenics has been through now over the last, for you, 22 years, for me, 20 years. And we've never been stronger. We've never been more capable of addressing the needs. There's things that people want, Tony Robbins says, but what do they need, right? And we have what people need, no question. And in so many ways, it's what they want, right? Making the complex simple, making life simpler, but more quality. So let's jump into this. Lenny, I made you co-host. And I toasted my BV this morning. I had my shake, I had my e-shot, and my head is just full of information that wants out, right? And like, don't shut me up. I'm gonna go, right? But I'm gonna be like a fire hose here, and I'm gonna try and contain that. And a lot of you know what I'm talking about, right? And here we are. Where can you be doing something for 20 years and be this excited, right? So this is my job, this is my career, this is what I do for a living. How many people are amped up about what they get to do for a living? And it's Saturday morning, you guys, come on, let's go, right? This is contagious, right? Energy, excitement is contagious. And so I just want to channel it and really get it to where, people are getting what's going on and get excited about it too. Because it's not about me. It's not about how excited I am. It's about how excited are you, right? And if you really tune in, if you get on the same wavelength right now, you could catch this and it can get in you. And Lenny, you've said this so many times. It's not when you get in Isogenics, it's when Isogenics gets in you. And that's what makes all the difference. And sometimes it gets in us and then we get distracted and it gets out, right, Alejandro? Right? Sometimes it gets in and then we get distracted and it gets out. And then we're like, wait a second, I was happier, I was healthier over here, right? And we just had a conversation with Alejandro about that yesterday or Thursday. So let's do this. All right. So this is my story. And back there, I was suffering, and everybody suffers in their own ways. Even when people are healthy, there's always something they're wanting to achieve that's better than what they are now, right? That's just how we're built as humans. It's in our DNA. But I was really at the bottom of the barrel here, so much so that I had set the safety mechanism on the lift. I was a mechanic, and you raise a car up and there's a mechanical safety feature. I disengaged it because I wanted the car to fall on me. I wasn't really suicidal, but I felt like if that car falls on me, it'll be an act of God. And this will be the opportunity every time I get into that car throughout the day. And I had everything worth living for, a beautiful family, so much love in the home. and providing for that. I just wasn't thinking right, right? When you're not healthy physically and mentally, you just don't think right, right? And so that's where I was at, and I was struggling. Isogenics came along, and to make a long story short, I don't struggle anymore. The nutrition of Isogenics changed my life when other things that I tried didn't. And I tried pretty much everything all the way to juicing and drinking wheatgrass shots. You don't do that because you like it. You're looking for something to help you feel better. And all of those things failed me. Isogenics didn't. And here we are 20 years later. So these were the three products that did it. We've added products since then. We're going to do a quick overview of these, but they changed my life. You are what you eat on the most profound level. And a lot of people don't really understand what that means. They'll agree with it, but then they're not living an exuberant life because what they're putting in their body isn't supporting that exuberant life. An exuberant life is a result. What is it that causes that? First and foremost, I now know it's nutrition because I never lost my zest for wanting to have a purpose in life. Even when I was here in my lowest moments, I still wanted to live life and have a purpose behind it. It's my body that was letting me down. So for me, first and foremost is what I'm putting in my body. Everything else failed me except Isogenics. And I've been on that bandwagon, that soapbox for 20 years now. That's a clue. 20 years. It hasn't, and I'm just as excited, if not more so today than ever, 20 years later. And a lot of you, if you feel like that, put a 7 in the chat box. Raise your hand if you're on, on the screen, right? So nutrition, right? So we're going to go over some of these real quick and do a thorough overview of each one of them. I do a deeper dive on Thursday night where we go into the science of them. But we just want to introduce you. We want to help you to see kind of like the top of the iceberg, but also what's underneath the water in a real kind of profound way, in a quick way right now. So Lenny, anything you want to add to that about, nutrition and you are what you eat, and, you had doctors coming to you, Dr. Ernie, was it Ernie Medina, I think his name was, or if I can, out of Loma Linda University, he was the expert in health and nutrition and weight loss. And he's coming to you, a restaurant owner, to find out what you're using that's working.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Our products used to be on trial. Our products, there was a time when our products were on trial. Our products aren't on trial anymore. They're just not, they're just not on trial anymore. And, who was it? Rob Wolf, one of the leading experts in the industry of health and wellness. And he said that if a human tends to undereat protein daily, they will tend to overeat everything else. Therein lies one of the biggest problems that we have, and we have an answer to that. So our number one wealth is our health. And that is not even disputable. The thing is that you can get lost in the mud with what to share sometimes because we have so many amazing life-changing products.
Yep.
So Jimmy Smith always just said the simple thing. Well, Jimmy, which one, what do I order? He goes, order as much Isogenics as you can afford.
I like
So
that.
in the beginning, though, it pays for itself. And that's one of the most important things. The key into our kingdom, the key into our world is, the simple first step is to come in and not have it disrupt you too much. If you could find something that could replace meals, oh, that would be really something. If you could find something that could really help you improve your health right away and see it, oh, yeah. And so after Dave said yes, after saying no, I remember one of my favorite stories about the products was Dave screaming across the room to Carrie after a 2-day cleanse saying, "Do you feel that?" And that is an important moment. We all need to pick our testimony, how we're going to, get that. Do you feel that? These things really work. And that's just the first step, you guys,
Yeah,
because what we're going to unveil later.
absolutely. And I'm just going to say this as bluntly as I can. Not all supplements are created equal.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that through trial and error, and now also intellectually through reading the studies and learning about supplements. even our own formulator, John Anderson, said, hey, every product I ever made for a company, they compromised it. And I've made over 2,300 different products. All of them were compromised, not one exception, some better than others, but they were all compromised. So let's go into this, whoops, a little bit more. And can you guys see my screen? Let's see. You can see my screen? That's really weird because I'm seeing this big screen right now. That is so weird. Why is it? Okay, I'm gonna change the screen. Ah, that's weird. What did it just do? It's never happened before. You guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Does it show you all the squares?
It shows me all the pictures of before and afters, a lot of them.
Okay, this is really weird that this is doing that way. Let me stop sharing for a second and let me share again. See if it must be something with my computer. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I just want to say, look, the products work. I know these people. I mean, Dr. Dave Noonan, we did meetings in his office in Redondo Beach, right? Wendy, I just spent the weekend with Wendy, right, at Celebration. So my own BNI president right there, 30 days transformation. The transformations are real. These are real people, real results. People magazine saying, hey, Isogenics, look what it did for Kenya, 439 pounds. Now she's down about 530. My kids, and I watched what happened with them and their own behaviors and their schoolwork and teachers calling us, wanting to find out from us, what did we do to our kids? There was such a dramatic change in their behavior and their attention span when we put them on Isogenics. So, and it just goes on and on. It's like that old commercial with the what was it, Head and Shoulders shampoo or something, and they told two people, and the screen starts filling up with people, right, that had used the shampoo. Look at this, right? We go on and on. So we're in a health crisis. Here we are on one side of it, completely the antithesis to this. We have people who are getting healthier, they're getting younger, they're getting fitter, right? All of the above. And yet the vast majority of people across the country are getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And these are the most recent, released statistics. 74% of adults are obese or overweight, 50% of kids, 18% of teens have fatty liver disease. You'd find in a late stage alcoholic, somebody who's been abusing alcohol their whole life, teenagers now have that problem with their liver without touching any alcohol. And you're hearing RFK tout this one a lot. I just saw a reel with him and they just quoted this: 77% of young adults are unfit to serve in the military. This is insane. And it's because of what Surgeon Casey Means, who reported these latest results, numbers, eating nutritionally deficient and toxic food. So you can't build a life on that. I had disengaged the safety mechanism on the lift because of those types of statistics in my life. Do you guys get that? Where the rubber meets the road. You can't build a foundation on that. I'm a living testimony of what it's like when you're in the sick category. So we're going to go over these products right here. And I'm going to go deeper in them on a Thursday night, right? So on Thursday nights, I'll go deeper into the science, especially the telomere support. But what I want to do is go through each one of these real quick, one-on-one, and then we'll get into some vitamin M and helping to free people in the area that is really the most stressful for people. 1 and 2, your finances, and number 2 is your health. People put their finances in front of their health. Would you agree? If you agree with that, if people are more concerned about their money than they are their health, put a 2 in the chat box, because that's a true reality. That's a true statistic, right? So we're gonna cover both very effectively. So Lenny, jump in at any point here, right? So the foundation is you are what you eat. Well, let's get the best food source. John Anderson was able to put into a meal replacement the complex, the compromised, the profound, right into that canister right there. And if you had a shake this morning, put a 4 in the chat box, right? I had my shake this morning and it was strawberry, performance line, right? And I put my greens in there. I've had my E shot, my Ionics goes in my shake. So my telomere support. All right, so this right here is to bridge the gap between not getting enough nutrition to getting enough nutrition in a lifestyle approach. I've done 2 shakes a day for 20 years now, over 15,000 shakes. And that might sound like, wow, that's kind of like cultish or not normal. Oh, it's totally normal. How many people go to Starbucks and get their latte, schmota, mocha, whatever it is, every single day? And they didn't used to do that before Starbucks wasn't around. I used to eat ice cream every day. When I wasn't trying to be healthy, I wanted ice cream every day. And so I ate it every day. Snickers bars, soda pop, right? There's addictions that we get. And all I'm saying is I'm addicted to the shake now. If you're addicted to the shake, raise your hand. But I'm addicted to health and nutrition. That's different than being addicted to the wrong things that, Wolf said about if you're not getting enough protein, you're eating a lot of the wrong things, right? So that shake is a game changer for me. And because I realize that and recognize it, I haven't given it up. I'm addicted to it, which makes it easy, takes willpower out of it. But I also know this is what changed my life, and I don't want to go back to the old version of me. Make sense? Anything you want to add there, Lenny? So the shake, 2 scoops, put it in ice and water, blend it up, drink it, right? Pretty simple.
I just want to say one thing about the purity too is that, one of the things that one of our chief science officers did to the shakes was add all the recommended vitamins. I mean, where are you getting your vitamins if you're not having one of our isogenic shakes? I mean, it's got everything in there to satiate you. You never feel better than when you drink a shake. I'm making mine right now. I'm making a chocolate peanut butter. I do this little, PB2 stuff powder, but it's my favorite thing. I don't even if I'm somewhere and I eat, I can't wait home to make my chocolate peanut butter shake. I'm stuck. I'm not stuck on it. I love it. It's my favorite thing. I've been drinking it for about 2 years now. It's my favorite thing. And so it's the nutrition we need as a building block. I fear for anyone that doesn't have isogenics in their life just because it's so good for the human body. It's so amazing. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I love what your mom said.
Go
It's
ahead.
it's delicious and nutritious, right? I love that. And we have clinical studies around it published in the most distinguished, hardest to get into journals, Nature's Communications. And so, yeah, we're not under trial anymore. What we're under trial with is letting people know about it,
Mm.
right? Letting people who want this know about it. We're not going to convince people against their will, right? We're looking for the people who are looking like I was. All right, breakfast, lunch, dinner, I recommend 2 a day. Bare minimum 1 a day, but 2 is better. Nutritionally supported detox, right? So we want to get the right nutrients in our body to support the organs that get the metabolic waste out and the things that don't belong in there. Things that the body doesn't metabolize, those are disruptors to the body. And there's so many of them now. We've made over 1 million different chemicals now. I researched it just recently. Over 1 million chemicals have been made by humans. And they get in the body and they disrupt it. This is designed with over 100 active botanicals to aid the organs that know what to do with that stuff. Get it out, get it out. Like, let's evict it, right? And I've never felt better. I've never released more weight more easily than when I did the nutritionally supported detox. Some people call it intermittent fasting, but we're a nutritionally supported cellular detox, company, and we're leading the way with it. In our clinical studies, it did things that Dr. Paul had never seen performed in the human body, especially with visceral fat. And combine that with the shake, the microbiome. Never seen anything like it. All right. And if you want to add anything, Lenny, just interrupt. Otherwise, we're just going to jump right through this. And I know that you, as a restaurant owner, you weren't overweight, but your pants started falling off, right? And this was when kids started wearing the saggy pants, and your colleagues that had their businesses next door to you, you were carrying some Subway sandwiches and you couldn't reach down to pull your pants up. And they're like, Lenny, your pants are on the ground. Pull up your pants, right? And as a school teacher, which you used to be, you used to tell the kids to do that, pull up their pants. And now you're being told to pull up your pants. And that was because the visceral fat that goes away when you get the toxins out. It's called obesogens. Your body stores those toxins in fat because they're not going away, and it's just trying to protect you. All right. Anything you want to add or correct me on that? All right. Adaptogen support. This is above and beyond your daily nutritional requirements, which we exceed all of that between the two of those. There's over 200 active ingredients in our shake. Just to get to homeostasis, you need about 90. We're at 200. That's why the body's performing in a way they had never seen before. But this is even on top of that, Ayurvedic herbs and then trace minerals and all these other wonderful superfood botanicals that other cultures have been using as a lifestyle approach. They're not going into some nutritional store and saying, hey, what do you got? They're getting it from nature and they've been using it like in the Himalayas, right? So that's what this is. And you take 1 to 2 ounces daily. And I just throw that right in my shake. I love it. Carrie loves to drink it in warm water, kind of like a tea. But this stuff right here, each one of these we could have made our own company around. Anything you want to add to the ionics?
I remember when I first learned about ionics, I was there when John Anderson came out on the Celine Dion concert stage at the one of the main hotels there in St.
MGM or something
Yeah,
like
at the
that.
MGM, and he came out on an elephant, and he was holding this bottle. It looked like a detergent bottle, and he says, "I behold the greatest health discovery ever, Ionic Supreme," and he gave this whole dissertation on Shilajit. And I, to this day, say, if I ever get a tattoo, Shilajit is going right on my body because it means in Sanskrit, wait for this, the destroyer of all weakness. Who can get behind getting a little Ionic Supreme Shilajit in their body, man? Destroyer of any weakness in me, I'll take some. So every day, man, that's one of the most important things we put in our body right there.
Yeah, Dr. Michael Kogan, who trains Olympic athletes, he said, this has everything that I've been giving my athletes, but they got to go to all these different stores and it's time consuming and it's expensive, but they got to do it if they want to perform on a level above everybody else. He says, you have everything I recommended and more in one bottle for a fraction of the cost, right? That's what you're getting right here. And everybody deserves to be on that. The telomere support. Dr. Bill Andrews, a geneticist, had me at hello when I started learning about telomeres and DNA and telomerase, the enzyme, which he discovered in 1994 in humans. And he said, once I learned how to activate that, I learned that that enzyme repairs your DNA, which has never happened before. Like he says, I'm on a mission to stop aging and all of the effects of aging. And he said telomerase is the key to doing that. But his problem was he couldn't find something that would activate that enzyme without causing serious side effects because they could only find chemicals. They couldn't find anything in nature to do it, but they had proved it. And then Harvard mimicked what they did in his lab, and they did it in mice, and the Nobel Prize was given to this research. But the stalemate was, how do we do it safely in humans? Humans produce that enzyme naturally. They naturally occur it. It's just not getting enough support to occur it. And so that's where Isagenix came in. Again, John Anderson in his genius was able to do what a team of researchers couldn't do in over a decade. Found botanicals, symbiotically formulated them so that they activated that enzyme, telomerase. And now we're seeing the benefits of supporting our DNA in a way that we've never supported it before. That right there, I would say, is the single greatest product on the planet. All of these are essential, so how do you rate which one's more essential than the other? But I would say this is the single greatest product on the planet that exists today. So I go very exclusively into that on Thursday nights, you guys, and I'll put that up there again on the screen where you can see that when we end here. So 2 capsules a day on that. How easy, right? The profound made very simple. Then these products right here, collagen, 1 to 2 bottles a day. I just shared some with my neighbor who you guys know the story, right? Their life is changing. I got them on a 30-day system, her and her husband. And within a month, they dropped the weight. And she's on TikTok saying, I'm back. And they're all retired. This is a retirement community. Basically, it's a brand new development. We downsized after raising our 5 kids in a 5,000 square foot home. I am in bliss. I'm in heaven every day in this home. Well, they just recently bought the house next. We kind of moved in at the same time. And They're retired and yet their health is failing them. And what do you want to do in your retirement? You want to enjoy your life, right? You want to enjoy it to the fullest. You earned it. And they're having these concerns. So, anyways, she's on TikTok. I'm back now. I didn't realize it, but I haven't been me for the last 10 years. I got a new order of collagen in just like 2 days ago. And uh, she was out front talking with Carrie, and we have these lights on our house, right? The fixed lights that you can change colors and stuff. And so they have them, we have them, and Carrie and her just love picking the colors together, what they're gonna do every night, right? So I hear them talking out there. I go out there, and she said something. I said, "How you doing?" She said, "I still want to try that collagen. Let me go get you a couple bottles. We just got some in." And so I went in the fridge, grabbed two of them, gave them to her. The next morning, I get a text. I'm ordering this stuff right now. It tastes so delicious, you guys. It's so amazing. But the results it produces, it's a market disruptor in the beauty industry. But it helps with bones and ligaments and tendons and things that people didn't know collagen impacted. And she ordered it. She ordered it yesterday. She had me walk her through on her website. It was so cool. So 1 to 2 ounces a day. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the body, and you got to have it. Your body doesn't produce it. You got to swallow it, and we have the best on the market. All right. And if you love collagen, type I don't know, I think we've gone through all the numbers now. Type a 7 for heaven, right? Seven heaven, right? If you love the collagen, type a 7. And if you've seen results from it. Creatine is the most studied product, is that what you'd say, and studied ingredient or whatever in the realm of human studies, creatine. And they're now finding that it's reversing Alzheimer's. I'm just reiterating what the scientists are saying. I have a reel on a guy who says, yeah, we're reversing Alzheimer's with 20 grams of creatine a day, 10 in the morning, 10 at night. And I watched another lady talk about a study where it says, if you take 5, that's great, but 10 is the new 5. If you take 5, it never crosses the blood-brain barrier and support the brain health. If you take 10 grams, boom, it gets into the brain. It will not touch the brain below 10 grams. That's why they said it's never impacted the brain. But now the studies are showing, and this other guy saying, we're reversing it with 20 grams a day, reversing it. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying that about our product. I'm just relating what he said. We have the absolute cleanest form of creatine that you can have. We mimicked one that was made out of Germany. It was the best on the market, and that's how we are, no compromise. We just mimicked it, and it's sold right here in the US. And I noticed a huge difference on creatine. If you notice a difference, type a 2. In my strength, my stamina, now I notice it in my brain because I'm doing 10 grams a day now. All right, clear protein. Lenny, the clear protein is changing people's lives. Some people just, their stomachs, they're not ready for, I wouldn't say harder proteins, but a more dense protein. This is a protein that's kind of like a Gatorade, right? It's like a hydrate. It's a powder and it's just clear and you just drink it like you would a water bottle. And I am getting feedback from people that this is really impacting their health and their weight. Anything you want to add besides how great it tastes?
Yeah, really. I mean, this is something I didn't even know I needed, Dave. When Dr. Paul, our CRO, came out with our clear protein, we have two flavors now. Between clear protein and our performance protein, it's my only chance of getting the right amount of protein, quality protein into my body every day. And, I usually can jack up my shakes to be around 50 grams of protein, where this is usually about 20 grams of protein. So between 2 shakes and one of these a day, right there, I'm getting close to 120 grams of protein.
Mm.
And so, like, I'm one of the few people I've ever met that's getting the right amount of protein every day. Like, that's the goal. That's the and I think that Dr. Paul helped us see with the calculator that if our goal is 160 pounds, then our best bet at that is ingesting 160 grams of protein a day. I don't see how anyone could do it without clear protein and our protein. So, like, we have a story to tell, brother.
Yeah.
And I mean, it works. And look at all of us. I mean, like, this is such a blessing for us to have these different ways to get protein in our body.
Yeah. And protein, not all proteins are created equal. Let's just
Oh,
say that. And I went deep into that rabbit hole, and the deeper you look, the worse it gets.
mm.
And to get a protein that's quality and clean and not compromised through the manufacturing process, if you're getting it strictly out of the US manufacturer, you're not going to get it. maybe 20% of that is going to be absorbed. Maybe it's a throwaway product. So you might find some that, go the extra mile, but still it's not even going to measure up to what we're doing with our New Zealand whey protein, right? And also the synergistic blends. So Dr. Lehman says if you're getting the right amount of amino acids, it changes the initiation factor of absorbing the protein. We exceed that amino acid, it's leucine, and almost all shakes out there don't even have an amino acid profile on it. You've got to have at least 3,000 milligrams of leucine the older you get. So after 40 years old, you're basically, he says you might absorb maybe 10% of the protein, but in most cases it's 0 to 10. As you get older, so 60, 70 years old, you're not absorbing the protein. That's why people get so frail unless the initiation factor is met, and it's called leucine. And both of our proteins, this has, and Dr. Paul Orsiero said, hey, you have the branched chain amino acids in there with the clear protein, including leucine. He named it. So these are things that people just don't know, right? And we get frustrated and we just write it off to like, oh, I guess this is what happens when you get old. Well, it is what happens when you get old unless you address the right needs, right? Cause and effects. Again, we can go on and on about these things and really break them down as to why they make a difference and what sets them apart. But we're just throwing out a few of them here. Monday night and Thursday night, you guys, I go into a deeper dive and I'll answer questions about the products on those nights. And then it took us 5 years. We're the first company to do it in over 100 years. And that is sustain a whole food vitamin molecular structure once it leaves the safety of the plant. It's the cell membrane wall that protects what's called a vitamere. There are different categories of vitamers in each vitamin. There's multiple vitamers. That's the molecular structure that we get from the vitamins. And once they leave the safety of the fruit or vegetable, they only last about 24 hours and then they're no good anymore. So if you squeeze orange juice, the vitamin C is only gonna be good for about 24 hours. So you see that orange juice on the shelf, there is no whole food vitamin in there. There is no vitamin C. There'll be a synthetic form where man has tried to copy nature by making a synthetic molecular structure that gets as close to matching it as it can. And they've only done one vitamin in each category. There are multiples. Vitamin B6, there's 6 different vitamins. If you're getting a synthetic form of vitamin B6, it's only one and it's man-made. We did it. It took us over 5 years and millions of dollars, and we enlisted the help of other scientists and labs to do it. But we now mimic what the plant is doing with the vitamins. And it's in our shake, and it's also in a bottle. Those vitamins are in our shake, guys. You're getting it with the shake, and they didn't even raise the cost of the shake when they did it. So right here, here's a bird's eye view of just some of the pillars of health that we have that you incorporate as a lifestyle approach. Total lifestyle approach. And the more you know, the better, right? We want to teach people how to fish, not just give them a fish. That's why we do this. And then why I do the deeper dives on Monday and Thursday. Anything else you want to add before we jump into vitamin N?
I want to add that I feel like I just watched Elf a couple times during the holidays, and I feel like Elf right now, I want to run in and say, congratulations, you did it. And what I'm saying there is that every one of these products is the best in its class. I mean, it's the best in its class for what it does. So anyway, congratulations, you did it.
Yeah, right. I love that. We quote Elf all the time in this home. And I know exactly what scene you're talking about. World's best cup of coffee on the door,
Yeah.
right? And it's like the world's worst cup of coffee. That's not the case here. And we have a 30-day money back guarantee that if you're not satisfied and it's not the world's best, if it's not the best you've ever put in your body, you get all your money back after eating it all. Try doing that with the world's best cup of coffee, right? Drink it and say, oh, I didn't like it. Give me my money back, right? We do that. And I'm just so proud to be a part of a company that did it right. So Lenny, this, and by the way, get back to the person who got you here. They'll help you get started. Everybody gets the products at the same price. You get it at the wholesale price, right? and there's not even a membership fee. You get it for free, the wholesale price. I love what this company is doing. We're impacting world health. Now let's talk about world wealth, right? And I wouldn't say I was resistant to it. I just didn't think that this was going to be my plan B, to help me get out of my plan A, which was being a mechanic for 15 years, delivering newspapers every morning, right? Because I had a growing family with growing needs and the mechanicking wasn't covering it all. So I got a paper out. I just didn't know, right? And I had a gap, a definite gap from where I was to where I wanted to be financially. Oh, it was like the Grand Canyon. Like that seems insurmountable to get from this side of the Grand Canyon to that side. And so I didn't think that Isogenics was it. Absolutely, the products were it. Like I was going to be the greatest customer that Isogenics ever had. In fact, I drove 2 hours when I ran out of shake because I didn't want to be without it. The guy's like, "Oh, I can bring it through when I come through next week. I have some and we'll order you some." I'm like, "No, you don't understand. I don't want to be without it tomorrow." And I drove 2 hours round trip. So I knew I was going to be the greatest customer. It took some time, but not very long. It took a few weeks, and I realized I have something of value here. And I knew I was valuable to certain people when it came to fixing their car. I'm an honest mechanic. How many of you would value an honest mechanic that does quality work at a fraction of the retail cost that they're charging at the dealership, right? And so I knew I had something that was of value to people, but there's so much more value to changing people's lives than changing their oil.
Mm.
And when I had that moment, it was game on because I realized I was going to make a bigger impact, which gave me a bigger purpose, but it was going to give me a bigger wallet. It was going to give me a bigger bank account. I didn't even have a bank account. Like it was always like bouncing checks and things like that, robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? And this changed everything. So we're going to go into that now and show you what we learned from Jimmy Smith. And just kind of like, what was your epiphany over just the last couple of days, Lenny, with what's going on with
Yeah.
the AI economy and, some of these
Man,
things?
I do want to take a moment. And while you're getting that up, is there any way you could just bring us up just for it's
Yeah,
our
yeah.
faces, just while we talk about this for a second? Because this is big, you guys. This is bigger than anything that I've ever experienced so far in isogenics. And I've been in 22 years. I'm so grateful Susan Sly is so leading edge on AI. She knows what's coming. She knows what's happening. And we can't necessarily say that isogenics is AI proof, but it's pretty close because you need that human to human interaction to share isogenics, right? So, well, I'm listening to this interview with Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins is opening my eyes
I'm going to
to
put the
some.
link in the chat box,
Oh
Lenny,
yeah,
for people that want to.
yeah, it's a really good. It's a couple hours, 15 minutes in. The question becomes from the interviewer to Tony Robbins, what's the most important conversation we can be having today, Tony? What's the most important conversation we can be having today? And he didn't even blink. He said AI. And when he said that, I've listened to this numerous times now. And when he said that, he says, look, complete industries are going to be replaced. And it's going to happen quickly. Like truck drivers, for example, there's 8 million truck drivers in the US, just in the US alone. And the day is coming when AI will surpass, it probably already is close, the safety. I mean, the 18 wheelers will be way safer on the roads with computers driving them than a person. And so he says when that happens, when people lose their jobs, they lose money. But more importantly than losing their money, they lose their meaning. They lose their meaning of life, the purpose that they were there for. And so, I remember Jimmy getting through to me that, and Dave always reiterated this and helped me, but Albert Einstein talked about the eighth wonder of the world, the miracle of compounding, how 2 becomes 4, becomes 8, becomes 16, becomes 32, becomes 64, and it just doubles, 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 and it doubles like crazy. And Dave's the expert on talking about this. But when he said that, I thought, well, so what? What does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with anything in my world? Well, Isogenics and Jim Coover were able to take the eighth wonder of the world, this compounding effect, and throw it into our compensation plan so that you can experience the eighth wonder of the world in your very own life, in your personal life, because of what we're about to share with you. So the eighth wonder of the world is fine if you're paying your credit cards, but how do you access it in your personal life? And the way you access it in your personal life is you get seriously excited about the power of two and the geometric progression of numbers, because for the first time that you're hearing this, you have the chance, and whoever you tell has the chance to access this power, this eighth wonder of the world into your very own life. That's what Dave did. That's what Susan did. That's what Rhonda did. That's what I did. That's what the BBs did. That's what everyone wants to do. And so he says that. I just want to say one more thing about this. I don't want to go into gloom and doom, but he says that if violence is coming to the United States, it's because millions of people at the same time will be losing their meaning. You take meaning away from someone, and people could get angry. So my epiphany, and Dave had an epiphany 20 years ago. He was driving from Vegas to St. George. He pulled over on the side of the road, and we've been talking about the geometric progression of numbers for a couple of weeks, maybe, but I don't think it ever got in. And so he called and he said, dude, he was yelling. I could hear the semis going by. So that was his moment of sleeplessness where he was like, oh, I can access the geometric progression of eighth wonder of the world into my own life and set my family free. And Dave got it. And not that many people get it, you guys. Not that many people ever get this moment where we want you to get this tonight. We want you to get this today. We want you to be different after leaving this next section of the Zoom than you've ever been, because you are part of the answer for what's coming. Because if people are going to be searching for meaning, searching for purpose, and let alone searching for money, oh, you guys, man, I mean, isogenics was made for this. And I always felt it was so divine. What's everybody going to do? What's everybody going to do? Now, not everyone's going to say yes to you, but a lot of people will. And so I am pledging and committing my life to doing this one more time. I've built a number of times in 22 years, but I want to do it one more time because I really feel like this is the biggest difference I can make in the earth right now, is helping people grab onto even a more significant meaning and purpose. So what's the most important conversation I can be having? Is the freedom conversation to ask people what they're doing, how they're going to deal with it. What are they doing about it? And they can start today, and they don't have to jeopardize one single thing about what they're currently doing, even though AI is going to take care of that in many industries. So Dave,
Yeah,
I didn't expect all that, but man, I am fired up because so many people don't even know they need us. They don't even know they need me. They need us. The world needs us.
absolutely. Tony Robbins in the video says the biggest thing that I want to eliminate is suffering.
Yes.
I know what it's like to suffer,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
want to eliminate that. And it's like Lenny said, I see millionaires, right? Tony sees people suffering, and he wants to jump the gun on that. He wants to get ahead of that. And so hang in there with us, guys. And Wendy, if you're around, I'm going to have you share your story later because you did both. You set yourself free physically and financially, right? And it's a great testimony to the ninth wonder of the world. We have a company that manifests the power of two in its compensation plan. That's the ninth wonder of the world, you guys. And just hang in there with me because look, I'm going to go as long as we need to go to get this in. Now, some of you, if you don't have your 3 nights of sleeplessness, if you haven't had it already and you haven't had it yet and you don't have it after today, you heard the compensation plan. You didn't get it. And that's totally okay because I didn't get it for the first couple of weeks. It was when I was driving down the freeway, like Lenny said, true story. I pulled over on the side of the freeway. I didn't even want to get to the next exit. And I got it and I couldn't sleep for 3 nights because I knew there's a difference between hearing and knowing. There's a difference between agreeing and knowing. I want you to know by the end of this presentation, but it's not always going to happen. But we're going to do our dangest to do it. All right, so let's jump into here. All right, so I've got to make sure that I put our disclaimer up here. This is being recorded. Both products and business, it's all based on certain factors. And there they are, right? That's some of them. So I don't need to explain it. I just need to show it. Okay. So everybody has dreams. There's no questions. You might have little dreams. You might have big dreams. You might have accomplished some of them. Some of them you may be as far away as you could possibly be from your dreams becoming a reality, like I was when Isogenics showed up in my life. And it's always different for everybody, right? What your dreams are. Some of them are going to be the same. But I will say this, 99.99% of all dreams cost money, time and money. And that's what people are short on, right? We have people getting 2 jobs, 3 jobs, right? Not just one side hustle anymore. It's 2 or 3. Okay. So we're going to share with you from experience. This is not data. This is not teaching from a book. And when you see the pictures at the end of all the people holding their checks that we just got, these huge, big, ginormous checks at Celebration, and Wendy, you're holding one, right? So Jimmy Smith taught me the power of 2. Robert Kiyosaki's written books about it. He doesn't call it the power of 2. He talks about the cash flow quadrant. And I'm not going to go into it, but 95% of people on the left side of the quadrant retire broke. 95% of people. 5% get to the right side where they get to live the dream life. They get to live all of those dreams. They're not far away from them. They're living them on a daily basis. And they're not putting it on credit cards. They're paying cash for their dreams. The bottom line is it's compounding what they're doing on the right side. I didn't know compounding like I do now, but I learned it from Jimmy Smith. Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. Who doesn't pays it. All the people on the left side of the quadrant are paying compounding interest and compounding things against them. The people on the right are utilizing it in their lives. Okay. So again, I didn't know what compounding was until I met Jimmy Smith. And he did it in a way that's called the penny being doubled for 30 days. Some of you have heard it and you're gonna be like, yeah, I know this one. It's the oldest story in the book, right? But I didn't know it. And he said, if you'd rather have $1 million in a briefcase, no strings attached, you can do whatever you want with it, or I'll give you a penny today and then I'll double that for 30 days. And whatever it is at the end of 30 days, you can have it. And like, I know there's some kind of gimmick to this, right? Like there's a gimmick, but I don't know what a penny compounded is. And I know what $1 million is. So I'll play along. I'll take the $1 million for sure, right? My ignorance caused me to lose. My ignorance caused me to lose in this scenario. And it's why I was losing in the game of life financially. Okay, that's a profound statement. You're going to hear it. You may not totally get it, but I get it. And it's very profound to me, life-changing profound. So the power of 2, a penny doubling at 30 days is you just take a calculator and you hit times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So we have 2 pennies on day 2. Day 3 times 2. So we have 4 pennies on day 3. Times 2, day 4, we have 8 pennies, right? So by the time we get to day 10, we have 512 pennies. We'll put a decimal in there and you got $5.12. I'm feeling pretty good about picking the $1 million briefcase, right? Because how much could $5.12 be in the next 20 days? Even at day 20, it's only at $5,000, $5,242. So I'm still feeling good. Even at day 25, I'm like, yeah, I picked the briefcase. Gimmick or whatever. I'm feeling like the winner here. But the 8th wonder of the world really kicks in here and it's mind boggling. And that becomes $5.3 million. I lost. That's still kind of hard to understand. So let me give it to you in another mind boggling way. If I took an eyedropper and I put 1 drop on the 50-yard line and every second, so let's change these days to seconds. 1 second, I put 1 drop on the 50-yard line. Day 2, or in the second, I put 2 drops. The 3rd second, I put 4 drops. How long does it take to fill that stadium up to overflowing like Niagara Falls with the drops that are going in there? How many minutes, how many hours, how many days to do that at the compounding of 2, just like I showed you here. So at day 30, there would be 5 million drops going in. Is that enough to overfill it? No, not even close. 47 seconds. 47 seconds and it's overflowing. Not at 30 seconds, not even close. 5 million drops from a dropper would not it wouldn't even fill it up to the first row of seats. But I did something I never did before, Lenny. I kept compounding 2. We did it to 31 days, right? Because we're like, what if there's 31 days in the month, right? It's 10 million. I did it with this analogy. And by the time I got to 40 seconds, it turned into 82 trillion. It totally bypassed all of the range of billions, 100 billion, 200 billion. It totally bypassed it in 10 seconds and got into 82 trillion. That's why that's overflowing now. Could you imagine 82 trillion? I asked somebody on the Zoom, if somebody wants to do it here, chat GPT it, how many dollar bills, $1 bills would you have to stack to reach the moon? And somebody did it, and it was like 2 trillion, I think it was. 2 trillion to reach the moon. We're at 82 trillion. All right, so how do we take that and convert our breakfast into our finances, right? Because that's what we're doing. Isogenics is food, whether it's the Forever Pack and supporting your telomere support, which is what I'm going to show here. 1 canister of shake and a month worth of our telomere support, which I believe is the greatest product on the planet single-handedly. But you got to eat every day, right? But we want to get to the closest minimal because people are struggling out there. What's the lowest amount of money I could pay into this to get this effect in my paycheck? It's called 100 in qualified volume. That's exactly 100 in qualified volume. Just 1 canister of shake. There's 14 mils in that shake and a month's supply of telomere support. Now, if you did 2 canisters of shake, you would have enough for the entire month. But we're keeping this at the lowest common denominator, which is what Jimmy taught us. The 100 QV qualified volume is the lowest common denominator. He said our best product isn't the shake. It's not the Cleanse for Life. It's 100 QV. Because that opens the channel to opening as much products as you want and to going on your dream vacation, paying off your credit card debt, getting rid of your stress. 100 QV will do that. So once I order 100 QV and I create 2 customers who order 100 QV, which is very easy to do, the average order for a customer in Isogenics is like 150, 175, 150 to 175 QV. We're just asking to create 2 customers that order. My neighbors didn't even know about this and they doubled that. Okay? Why? Because they want to spend out their golden years healthy. And now I said, have you gone to the doctors for a check? And she's all, yes. And everything's changing. My liver numbers are totally changing. And she gave me the exact numbers, right? Their health, right? Who do you know that needs better health? Okay, so once I create 2 customers, I get paid a percentage of every product that's sold in my little group. And my little group can grow just like these numbers here. So I just did what? I'm using the products and I got 2 people to use the products and now I'm qualified to get paid on everybody. This is the penny. This is how we manifest the power of 2 compounding at the lowest common denominator to get the single greatest effect, the 8th wonder of the world. And we do it in Isogenics just like the penny. So Isogenics is the 9th wonder of the world. Because all I had to do was share with 2 people who order a qualified volume. I get paid on everybody. So what do these people need to do? They just need to do step 1 and step 2. Well, they already did step 1. Do you know my neighbors already did this? They already did this. They've already enrolled 2 people. They did that in the first month. They just duplicated what I did. And those 4 people, they just need to do step 1 and step 2. But look what it's doing to my group. It's kind of like the drop in the Coliseum there, the NFL stadium. It's like the penny being doubled. They are doing what the penny being doubled is. And guess what? I get paid on all of it. The same percentage on everybody. How did Isogenics even figure out how to do that? Like people are like, that will never work. The company's going to implode. 22 years, almost 24 now in March, and we've created 449 millionaires. We didn't implode. They figured out how to pay everybody equally the same percentage once they've done step 1 and step 2. Boggles the mind, right? 8th wonder of the world. The 9th wonder of the world is we're doing it in Isogenics like a penny being doubled. So if you just take this down right here, Lenny, remember we used to get paid on that little gold card that said Isogenics. They used to pay us on a debit card. Wendy, were you around when they had the debit cards? You were. I tried to find mine the other day. It's around here somewhere. I want to show people. It was a gold card that had the black Isogenics word on it, right? And I took my family to a restaurant right in this area right here because I was still being a mechanic. I was still like barely getting by. And, but this was extra money. And so I was sharing with people at work and after work and on the weekends. And it didn't take very long. And I had enough money to take my family to a restaurant we had never been to. I was so proud of that moment. And I handed the debit card to the lady, the waitress, and I said, yeah, my company says they pay us on this. It should work. If it doesn't, let me know. Because I was like, I had some fear and hesitation, right? My wife's getting her PhD in psychology. She loves school and she fell in love with that. That's her passion, right? And she said, when people are introduced to something new or something they're unfamiliar with, your nervous system kicks in and it causes fear and hesitation. So even though I knew Lenny was using his card and people were buying stuff with it, I still had fear and hesitation, but I didn't let that hold me back. I didn't totally understand the power of two. I had fear and hesitation, but I didn't let that hold me back, right? So I handed it to her, but I had some fear and hesitation. So I had to preface it with, let me know if it doesn't work. She came back and she literally said, hey, that went faster than most cards. That went through faster than most cards. Your dinner's paid for. You're good. I was like, yes, right? Then down in this level here, this is the penny being doubled. I didn't bring in all these people. It was doing this. It was doing this. It was doing this. And I was getting paid on all of this. And instead of buying or driving our 1989 Dodge Caravan that was dark purple with wood paneling, when you came to a stoplight, it smoked out the back, like this kind of smoke. So you didn't want to stop at a stoplight. I learned how to slow down 100 yards away, right? If the light was red, so we didn't stop. You just learn how to do these things when you're struggling financially, right? In this area, I bought my wife a brand new Honda Odyssey van. Do you know how proud of a moment that was for me? To buy the car we wanted instead of the one we had to drive? Big difference, guys. In this area right here, we moved into our dream home. It took 9 months to get into this area right here. 9 months, 15 years of mechanicking and a paper route, and we had never moved into our dream home. 5,000 square foot, brand new home, a pool in the backyard, a basketball court, an in-ground trampoline, a total kitchen with a refrigerator in the backyard. You kidding me? This is our dream home. And in 9 months, I moved into it? Yeah, because I was doing the eighth wonder of the world with my finances now. I didn't have any special degrees. I dropped out of high school, you guys. I was struggling with the paper route. Everything was working against me. I just changed my behavior to institute compounding. That was it. So if I could take any credit, it was having the wherewithal mentally to do this action. That's all it was. It was a decision. I was already eating. Isogenics didn't cost me any more than what it was already costing me to get the 100 qualified volume. And right here, we moved into our dream home, started taking dream vacations. And this is what got me, you guys. Lenny, you taught me and you taught me, and you said, go home and do it on the calculator. And I figured out how to do the math, and I would call Lenny, we would call George, and do I got it right? Am I doing the math right? And I realized before you even finished the 13th level, with everybody ordering the minimal, lowest common denominator, I'd be making over $50,000 a month. That's when I got into massive action. I had my moment. I knew that I knew. And that was just a decision. Nobody can hold me back from doing certain behaviors. And I did the behaviors that led to that. My biggest month, $93,000 in 1 month. You know what? I figured that out. How many hours would I have to work a day getting paid $20 an hour, which is what I got paid as a mechanic? 150 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. 150 hours a day. Who can do that? Nobody. And that's why we retire broke on the left side of the quadrant. I did it right here. A high school dropout, no advantages. I just saw an opportunity. And Lenny, what you're seeing now is an opportunity to change people's lives by helping them to understand the eighth wonder of the world with the ninth wonder of the world, the company that manifested in their compensation plan with products that are unprecedented, clinically proven. So this is the email I got from Isogenics before celebration. Hey, we're going to celebrate you. You're in the category of 10 million plus. So be in the backstage at a certain time. And that was so awesome how many people were back there, right? 449 millionaires. We might be at 450 now. This is a couple weeks ago. Let me jump to another slide here and pull it up. Wendy, I want you to share your story here. Let me go past all this. Okay, so there's the recording. Malcolm recorded me coming on the stage along with other people in the 10 million plus category. There's me and Carrie. 11,044,000. 11,044,000. But it's not about my check. It's about your check that you want to get excited about. Malcolm, 500,000. Jojo Bennington, 2.7 million. I got to move this out of the way. Tammy Hess, what is it? 2.5 million, 2.6. Our full-time physical therapist who now only works 4 days out of the week because of Isogenics, 100,000 a year. Wendy, who gets to stay at home and be with your kids and do whatever you want during the day, right? 250,000. Gwen and Liddell Miles, 2.2 million. Hillary Courtney, bless her soul, she changed me and my family's life forever, 16 million. Patsy Lundgren, 13 million. Susan and Murray Miller, 6.6 million. And then I'm walking back to my seat, and there's Alvy. He was a professional baseball player, pitcher, and he threw out his arm. Surgery, never was able to come back. Suicidal. In the hospital, somebody shares Isogenics with them, 1.4 million. Paul and Bonnie paved the way for so many of us, it looks like 3.7 million, right? Wendy, just real quick here, and then Lenny, I mean, there's some more that we want to say. Don't go anywhere, right? But Wendy, you know, I have that picture of you walking out of the medical office for the last time with your lab coat on and you're walking out, right? I mean, what did that day mean for you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna get emotional about it because thank you for reminding me. 13 years in orthopedic surgery, and I didn't I didn't find Isogenics until I started having a family, and I went from full time to just working 1 day a week. And it was then that I realized that my health wasn't where I thought it should be, and getting back to my body was like lost on me. And so I spent that time looking for a solution, and begrudgingly Isogenics fell into my lap, and I was so resistant, but I was looking for anti-aging, and so I started with that and one shake a day. And within 4 days, that's when the light bulb went off. I felt amazing. I felt the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. And at that time, I was spending a lot of mental energy um, counting protein as a vegetarian. And having one shake a day just doubled my protein intake so fast. And 4 days in, I was like, wow, I'm not even working out and I have more lean muscle mass. This is insane. And and then that's when I started seeing the vision, and I had a whole week of sleepless nights. And I was like, if I'm struggling with this and this is my industry, or I thought this was my industry, who else is out there struggling? And it took me 4 or 5 years to finally to really feel that feeling that Dave has talked about. Like putting on my white coat made me want to throw up because I felt out of integrity, and I felt like I was doing a disservice for people. I was band-aiding whatever their issue was, and I wasn't getting to the root cause. And I realized that I could help people way beyond these four walls of the hospital. And I said, I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna walk away. And my mom, of course, is like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? Because you spent a lot of money, and you have a degree that a lot of people would love." Meanwhile, she does have a 25-year network marketing success story. And she said this to me. She's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "Yes, I'm sure. I don't love working. I don't love being told what to wear, when I can use the bathroom, when I can eat, and how much, like, when I can take time off. No." So, and then just experiencing the ability to earn income outside of punching in. Like when I was on the beach, I was making money and I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. So walking away from it was December 2019, right before the pandemic. And I was like, when March hit, I was like, wow, wow, I cannot believe if I had to go back into the hospital right now with little kids, this would be a really, really tough situation. So I was so grateful for Isogenics, and yeah, thank you. Thank you for continuing to do these calls, Dave and Lenny, and just sharing your stories. Like it's like the fire never goes out. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Well said. Very inspiring. And coming from a professional background, that's what Susan Sly said. How many professionals are going to be displaced because of AI? And it happened in 2008, and we created some millionaires out of 2008 because those professionals didn't have anything secure anymore. And so they knew how to work. They saw, being a professional, you see things a little bit differently, and they just got to work. And we created millionaires out of that 2008. But she said about 2008, people were able to get their jobs back. This time they're not going to get their jobs back, Lenny. And like Tony says, I see a lot of suffering coming, and we need to get ahead of that. So Lenny, I mean, the power of two and Jimmy Smith, I mean, him and his family have made over $100 million now because of Isogenics. Jimmy Smith will be 98 next month. And he's just paved the way to show us that it's possible. He was a retired butcher. He got forced into retirement as a butcher. So forever, we'll be grateful for him paving the way for us in Isogenics.
Yeah, for sure. What a great what a wonderful time that we've had here this morning, being together, talking about this, getting inspired. I was doing a meditation right before I called Dave after I was listening to Tony Robbins, and I I let myself go in a vision to I walked into a truck stop, and there were all these truckers. And then I said, "Excuse me, can I have your attention, everyone?" And then everybody stopped and looked at me, and I'm like, "I'm from the future, and you might need me in the future. So here's my card. Don't lose it. But like, if anything was to happen and you got displaced, man, call me." And I know I'm not going to probably walk into a lot of truck stops and do that, but I could. I literally could. I hold in my possession, in my brain, in my being, the way to help people, not just with their health, but yes, with their health. It's one of the most important. Our number one wealth is our health, but our number two wealth, what did I write? Our number two health is our wealth. Because when you have money, you everything's different when things are taken care of, and people are struggling right this second, and they're going to be struggling even more tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So it's really up to you and me to whether or not we're going to do this or not. Because it can happen where you tell two people and they get so fired up, they tell two, they tell two, they tell two, they tell two, and you're done. But you can also take things into your own power and tell two people every day. Dave and I, for probably 3 or 4 years, we lived on two a day, two a day, two a day, an apple a day. No, tell two people a day about Isogenics. Tell two people a day about Isogenics. Tell any two people a day about Isogenics. Why? Because it could change their lives. Look at Dave MacArthur. Like, I just want to end with this. When I met Dave, I didn't realize that he had taken those springs out of the lift at the Honda dealership in St. George, Utah. I didn't know that. I had no idea. And so when Carl Lamar, my brother, and Kathy Lamar found Dave and Carrie, and they enrolled them, and then I was already living there, I'm like, dude, let's coach this guy together. Let's coach. And so, man, we went, and I picked him up at the dealership in his overalls. I knew it was Dave for sure. Why? He had the name Dave on his overalls. So I knew that was Dave. I'd never met him before. I didn't know that was all happening in the background. But man, to be part of Dave MacArthur's story is one of the greatest blessings of my entire life. It really is. And so, like, who's waiting for me now? Who's waiting for you next? Who's next? Who's next? That's it. Who's next? Because we're not going anywhere. We're here to stay, and we're here to be part of the solution to all the problems that are coming, that are already here. So, brother, thank you for inviting me today. I cannot wait to jump in with you and do as many of these meetings as I can with you, and especially
Love it.
live.
I did, that lights me up even more. Like I'm not going to sleep for a week now, like crazy, because I just love. We're coming full circle, right? And I love the Wonder Twin powers activate. I love our dynamic, and the reason why is because it's effective,
Mhm.
because it's going to keep people from suffering, right? And I just
Yes.
want to finish with a couple things here, you guys. So hang on for just a couple more seconds. I really love this part because we're not going to go out and pull teeth. We're not going to pull people to a horse to water and try to make it drink. This is going to be a cooperative thing because the tools are here now to help people make a decision. It's either a yes or a no. If it's a yes, then they're going to cooperate. Does that make sense? That's way different than working with people that don't want to cooperate. You ever work with anybody that doesn't want to cooperate, right? And you see it for them? We're going to help people to see it, and then they're either a yes or a no. So there's so many things where we have cooperative behaviors that are based on trust of the multitude. Commerce, you have shipping, receiving, you have employees, you have business owners, you have customers, right? We all work together to make it work. And without that agreement, it doesn't work. So traffic laws, we cooperate out there and we all agree we're going to work together in our behavior when we drive on the road. And we see what happens when somebody doesn't, right? People get hurt, there's harm. But as a majority, we cooperate. That's a decision. Nobody has to do that. Nobody's forcing anybody to do that. I really want you to understand this part. Because when you get it, it doesn't matter if other people get it. It matters if you get it. Because then your belief level goes up and it changes the way you behave, the decisions you make, right? So we're making an agreement in a bank. That's one of the biggest ones. We all cooperate. We're going to put our money in there based on trust and a decision. Could you imagine if all of a sudden everybody ran to the banks and pulled their money out and the trust was gone? It would fall apart overnight. And that's happened in the past, right? So look at something that people didn't embrace in the beginning. The majority never leads. Let me say that again. The majority never leads. They always follow. Do you know that they protested the automobile over the horse and buggy? Do you know that this is a cartoon protesting electricity? The sky is falling. Everybody's going to die. Everything's going to burn down. It isn't going to work. We can't do this. We got to stick to the candles. We got to keep using the kerosene lamps. I mean, look at this guy in the wires. Like, they're totally like, run for your life, right? From electricity. People would die today if they didn't have electricity just because they couldn't use their phone anymore, right? Look at the behaviors now of something that was contested and protested against, and how cooperative people are around something that they didn't used to be. Isogenics is cooperative behavior. All we've got to do is share and then let the person decide if they want to cooperate or not. If they don't, next. It's that simple. Paul Zane Pilzer said the millionaires of the future will be letting people know about things they didn't know existed. So that's your job. Let them know it exists. Your job is not to get them to cooperate. That's their job. And I'm telling you, the minority is going to become the majority here by, they're going to be forced to. They're going to be forced to look for. Do you see? This is the hose and the basketball in the hose that Tim Sells talks about. If you can predict where people are going to be in their needs before it actually shows up, you can capitalize off of that in a big way. Now we're doing it with integrity. Like, you left your job, Wendy, because you saw that our products were going to help them more than that industry that you were involved with could. So this is a win-win scenario. There's only 5 steps, and really 2 of them are the same. Well, two. These 2 are really the same, and these are really the same. So there's really only 3 steps. Get an account, order your qualified volume, become an associate so that you can benefit from the business model of compounding, because customers don't have to pay for an account, right? They get the wholesale order. They get the products at wholesale. You get to build a business for $29 a year, and it unlocks your website where you can enroll people and start to get paid on that compounding. So I'm not going to go through it here, but I want you to look at this because I go step by step on how in your back office, because they're going to need to know how to do that, how to log in, how to pick the products, how to put them in the cart and get their 100 in qualified volume so they can teach 2 other people to do that, right? One on the left, one on the right. But you got to look at this as transactional. You're just going to get them to take a look and see if they want to cooperate. I didn't have my paper out because there was love for that paper out. It was transactional. I needed an extra $600. It doesn't matter whether I love it or I hate it. I got to show up every morning at 4:30 so I can get the $600 at the end of the month. Take emotions out of it. That was completely transactional, doing the paper route. If you look at this like that, you can change a lot of lives, including your own, and start to live those dreams that we talked about earlier. Take any kind of emotion out of it, right, Lenny? But, oh, there's so much emotion that's connected to it once you start to reap the benefits. It's like you're crying, Wendy's crying, I'm crying, Connie's wiping away the tears, right? You guys, in order to get on the right side, I'm guaranteeing you, I'm not guaranteeing you, I'm guaranteeing anybody that does the behaviors will get on the right side. Why? Because it's a mathematical equation. There's no emotion about it. It's all transactional. You can get on the right side of the quadrant, guaranteed, if you do these behaviors right here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no chance. There's no, I hope you get lucky doing it. Oh, you didn't get the luck. No, this has nothing to do with luck. And when I got it, that's how I saw this. And I did the behaviors. And today I'm $11 million and counting richer. Lenny.
What more can be said? I mean, this is absolutely fun. It's exciting. Helping people is one of the greatest joys. You know, what are we giving? What are we giving? What are we giving? Tony Robbins keeps talking about that in that interview. What are you giving? And we have it all. We have it all. Literally, we have it all. We can give the gift of health and the gift of wealth with the gift of freedom. Those are the 3 things people are looking for. Freedom to do what you want to do a day. We were laughing yesterday. You're like, yeah, this morning I took all the new cleaning products from Isogenics and I was just like having so much fun cleaning my shower, cleaning my bathroom. I'm like,
At 10
that's the
o'clock in the
best
morning.
story. That's the best story because you're doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
You're doing what you want to do. We all deserve to do what we want to do. And there are people that are ready right now. There are people that are ready right now, Dave, that they just don't know about it. They just don't know about it. And therein lies the opportunity for you and me, is that the masses don't know what we know now, what you know now. And so let's go. Let's go. I'm fired up, brother. I am
How many
fired
people
up.
are you going to get to take a look today? That's what it comes down to. How many people are you going to get to take a look today?
Yeah.
All right, you guys, I'm going to unmute this, let you all give a shout out. Thanks for showing up this morning. Let's max out this Zoom next Saturday. Oh, by the way, I got to say this. Dr. Paul is going to let me know Monday if he can be on next Saturday. So our product piece will be Dr. Paul Arciero. He's going to let me know Monday if he could be on. If he does, I'll put it in the Facebook group. I'll get it out there to as many people as I can get it to, and you can invite your friends, family, and all those that want to know the science directly from the scientist. Okay. So next, and then we'll go in to this vitamin M piece after Dr. Paul. All right. And I do it exclusively Thursday morning. And I show them how to enroll, how that BV converts into money in your website. I also have all that recorded on YouTube. So it's there 24/7. Okay. All right. Let's give a shout out. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, I invited a guest too. I invited a guest. I think Hector, if you're still on, but I invited a guest.
Awesome. Yes. Yeah. Hector's on. I see him right there. He's
awesome.
Get back with Hector. Let's go, you guys.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Have a great day, guys.
Thank you so much.
Calls get any better, but
Awesome.
thank you. Best call.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Love
Thanks
your
for the
story.
Zoom call.
Thanks, Dave.
Have a great day, you guys.
Thank